Welcome back, everybody. So glad you could be with me here today. Walter here with a retrospect, a rerun of some thoughts. What is a hand plane? And I'm sorry about the audio, I don't have my microphone. But I wanted to get this out quick. A hand plane, I have always said, is nothing more than a chisel, or in this instance, a cutting iron, in a block of wood. That's all it is. And it works simply because you have fixed this blade to the block of wood in such a way that you can make a shaving. Okay? For hundreds of years, this is what they had. Some form of a cutting iron in a block of wood. So in the 1800s, they started making iron-bodied planes. The iron-bodied planes started out mimicking, and I say mimicking because they too were nothing more than a blade stuck in some sort of bronze or iron or copper, whatever they had. So it started to get complicated when Leonard Bailey invented and patented the Bailey patent plane. And what it did was it took a whole series of smaller parts, a knob, a screw, a threaded stem, a handle, a screw, a threaded stem, another screw. Then you have a thin cutting iron, another piece of metal on top of the cutting iron, another piece of metal on top of that, and then a screw with a knob and cast iron pieces and stuff like this. So I have always believed that this design cannot be improved on. There are little tweaks that have been done over the years, and some of you in the UK, you have your infill planes and you have your Norris adjuster, which is an amazing design in its own. But for the common woodworker, it was amazing. The thinner blade allowed you to sharpen your irons faster, keeping a certain angle easier. It used less material, making manufacturing easier. And just like Henry Ford did with the assembly line and cars, they did the same thing with hand planes. Every component was made by a different person or a group of people. And then all the parts went to an assembly area and they all fit together. Now, the anatomy is simple. You have the body. The body is what holds everything together. The body has a sole, a toe, a heel, two cheeks, and a mouth. Very kind of interesting because it resembles human anatomy. You have a body, you have two cheeks, you have a toe, a heel, and a mouth. All right. So the knob and the tote are simple. They're just a piece of wood held on with a screw. Very simple. The shape and angle of the tote is kind of critical for comfort. But what really makes this pattern work is when you pop the hood, also known as the lever cap. I'll talk about that in a second. And then you take the blade set out, also known as double irons. You see the frog, okay? The frog screw, and the two screws that hold the frog to the body. That is where the design begins. If your frog is mated properly to the body, there's several machine surfaces. If it's mated properly and making contact properly, those two screws will make it feel like this was cast into this. That made machining everything so much easier, made less cast iron and less defect. On the frog, you have a lateral adjuster, which there were some that did not have lateral adjusters, and you have something here to advance the blade up and down, and that's called the yoke. And the yoke sits on this adjusting nut. Some people call it a knob. Proper term is a nut. And then in the more modern era, they started to add, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, that screw down in here by my finger, that's the frog adjusting screw. So if I were to loosen these two screws holding the frog down, and I was to tighten or loosen that screw, the frog would move forward or back, opening and closing the gap in front of the cutting iron to the mouth. I keep mine almost all the time in one spot, and that's it. So when it comes to the blade set, you've got a thin blade, a thin cap iron, also known as a chip breaker, and there's a spring tension in that, so that when you tighten this screw, this all comes together tight. You should not be able to see a sliver of light coming through between the chip breaker and what's known as the back or face of the cutting iron. All right? Depending on how much cutting edge you let protrude in front of the chip breaker, that will affect your cut. So, any questions there? So the mating surface of the frog with the blade, and when you use the same blade all the time, you'll start to see shiny areas. Here, there's one here, there's a couple in here, and that's where it is rubbing on the frog. That's a good thing, because you want good contact. Now, the lever cap is known as the lever cap because of the lever. Some have a screw adjuster here to tighten, and there's a little spring here. Together, all of this is what holds all of this to the frog, once again, making it feel as if it's all one piece. Now, some people have asked the question, why the kidney shape? Well, this is a later development because they felt the keyhole shape on the older planes could loosen. They felt that if this loosened, at least it wouldn't all fall apart. So I didn't show you, the lateral adjuster has a round disc on it, right here, and it is supposed to be a washer that rotates, but sometimes it's peened on too tight, or it rusted shut, or it has gunk in it. but it really should rotate like a bearing. So I like to center things up, center the lever cap on, close the hood, and depending on how tight you make the lever cap screw, you'll be able to advance and retract your blade more easily, and you'll be able to laterally adjust it more easily. Too loose and it will move on its own, and that you don't want. So it's a fine line. So that's the Bailey pattern or patent plane design, which I feel is absolutely brilliant. It changed so much. It made life so easy for woodworkers. Because you can be planing along and you don't need to stop and get an adjusting hammer. You just use your fingers and you would advance the shaving. Now I know that it's leaning to the right, so you push to the right. Still leaning to the right. Advance it. And now I'm getting more right down the middle. And as I mentioned, how much cutting iron you expose is a function of the thickness of the shaving you want to take. If you're looking to hog off a lot of wood, that chip breaker should be set back further. If you're looking for a fine smoothing cut with a cambered iron as a finishing cut like this, it's feathered here and it's feathered here. So then you want your chip breaker more forward. But that's about it, everybody. The anatomy of a hand plane, especially the Stanley Bailey pattern plane. Thanks for stopping by. I hope I helped somebody, especially anyone new. If you have questions, don't hesitate. Write something down in the comments section. We're all here to help. And sorry about the volume. I'm not yelling. I just have to speak a little louder for the camera to pick it up. Like, subscribe, and share. Head out to your workshop. Check out your plane and all its parts. But remember, the sum of all the parts is what makes it work. Walter out.